Hey, what's going on? I want to give you 10 tips that you can use to become a master at your Groovebox. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jay Myrax of ultrawest.com here with 10 tips that you can start using today in your quest to become a master at your Groovebox. Number one, stop comparing your Groovebox to other Grooveboxes on the market. Now, there's tons of Grooveboxes out there and they all do different things. They all have some similarities, but there's some unique differences that you can use in your setup that will help you to become a much better producer just based upon the limitations and the way that the limitations help you to explore different creative possibilities. Don't be afraid to get deeper into your own Groovebox. You got to block out everything that you may be hearing from other products and manufacturers and just really focus on the uniqueness of your specific production environment. If you have a Groovebox and it does a specific amount of things, focus on how to get the most out of that. Don't compare. Also, if you can afford to get multiple Grooveboxes, by all means, get multiple Grooveboxes so then you can refer to each of those Grooveboxes when you want to try something different. Number two, keep your volume levels down when you start working with your Groovebox. Now, today a lot of samples and a lot of the virtual instruments come preset pretty loud, and it's your job when you first start loading up sounds and samples into your Groovebox to lower those levels immediately so that you can get some headroom back into your mix, because otherwise what will happen is as you start adding elements to your mix, you will max out on your headroom on the master bus really quickly and things will start to sound really nasty and distorted. So you want to back down on the level so that you have the maximum amount of headroom, and that'll allow you to get the best sounding mix, and it'll save you a lot of time once you get down to the mixing process. Number three, use your Groovebox in standalone mode. Now, as tempting as it is to immediately try to put your Groovebox, whether it's the Maschine or the MPC, into a DAW as a plugin, learn to use your Groovebox in standalone first, because that's where the maximum potential is. That's where you'll learn all the idiosyncrasies, all the uniqueness, and all the things that the Groovebox can do to really help you to explore new creative avenues and really project your musical ideas in a more organic way. Learn to use it in standalone first before you go to plugin mode, and you'll be that much faster once you get in plugin mode. Number four, use the 16 levels option on your drum machine to get a much more dynamic and expressive performance from the pads. You should always try to make sure that you get a dynamic sound from your performance. And one way that you can do that is to use the 16 levels option instead of the full level option. What the 16 levels option does on a drum machine is it makes each of the pads represent a specific velocity range from 0 to 127. So it breaks it down into 16 even parts, and it allows you to play each pad at a specific velocity. So that means you can get a really controlled dynamic performance. And this is really helpful when you're trying to create music that has a specific groove, that has a very nice bounce or rhythmic feel. If you want something that feels a lot more organic, but you still want it to have some control and you still want it to have a bit more of a regimented dynamic range, 16 levels is your friend. You can use it to get a really nice swing and really nice bounce in your performance. So I highly recommend that you use 16 levels instead of using full level. Number five, use the resampling feature on your virtual instruments. Now, you may not be a sample-based producer. You may have gotten the Groovebox just because it is a VST host and it comes with some great sample sounds already. Even if you are a sample-based producer using VSTs, it would be a great idea for you to get into the habit of resampling your instrument phrases that you play with your VSTs. Now, working with an instrument phrase as audio will give you a lot more options in how you can manipulate the sound once you've recorded the melodic line. So this is a great thing to start getting into a habit of doing, because you can use the audio phrase to create new variations of the sound. You can use it to re-trigger the sound in new rhythmic ways, and it allows you to just get a lot more patterns and a lot more bang for your buck out of the phrase that you may have played. If you just keep it in MIDI, you can only really shift it and copy and paste it, but the audio really allows you to do things that you wouldn't normally do. You can pitch shift things up and down and really create new textures in your pattern. So resampling is a really good way to work with a Groovebox. Number 6, use the pads to come up with melodies. Now, you may naturally be a keyboard player that has studied piano and keyboard for years, but try using the pads sometimes instead of the keys. As keyboard players, we get into habits where we often play the same riffs and the same chord progressions when we first get on the keyboard. And the good thing about the pads on a Groovebox is that it will immediately break you out of that habit. And it really helps you to simplify the melodies that you come up with. You'd be surprised at the quality of the melodies that you can come up with from the pads versus playing on the keyboard. So try it. You don't have to use it all the time, but it's a good way to use the unique features of your Groovebox and get something creative out of it. Number 7, use patterns to store variations and alternate ideas. Now, you may not come from a pattern-based sequencing workflow. You may have worked in a DAW before, or this may be your first production environment overall. But a good way to use a pattern-based sequencer is to think of patterns as variations of your main idea. So say you lay down a great sounding 8-bar bass line, and it's sounding excellent and it's grooving and it's feeling good. Use the additional patterns or sequences to create variations off of that main idea. This will help you when you start building up your full arrangement, because it allows you to store up a bank of really natural sounding ideas that complement the original idea that you may have recorded. So try using it for things like your bass lines and your drums and even your melodies. Try creating variations and storing them in patterns so that you can use them later on. Number 8, name your patterns, your tracks, your scenes, and your sequences. Get into a habit early, because it'll help you to navigate around your sequences later on. Now, it can be tempting to go full steam and just work and not think about naming things. It'll save you a lot of effort and time if you take a little bit of your time during your production to start naming your tracks, naming your scenes, patterns, and sequences, because once you start arranging, you'll easily be able to throw things in a mix and you won't have to wonder which pattern was this or what was in that sequence. You'll just be able to move forward and just grab the things that you think makes the most sense and create your arrangement. So get into a habit of naming the components of your arrangement. Number 9, save frequently. I can't stress this enough. This almost could be number 1 because it's so important. Save frequently. When you first open up a session, save it. If you don't have a concept name for the track, give it a generic timestamp name. Give it something that you can access later on. Save when you first start off. As you progress and get your concept together and you get an idea and you understand what the direction of the song is, give it a more descriptive name. Give it a name that really reflects the concept, but save frequently. Anytime you lay down any significant patterns or any significant melodies, you should save. Be cautious about not saving, because you can easily get caught up and lose all your work. So save often and frequently. Number 10, use your DAW for mixing. Okay, a Groovebox is a performance device. It is designed for you to capture grooves, ideas, rhythms, melodies, and all sorts of things, but it's not really a great place to mix. A DAW, a digital audio workstation, is better suited for mixing because it handles audio and it also handles automation and auxiliary routing and all sorts of other mix-oriented things a lot better than a Groovebox. So I would highly recommend that once you get your whole idea and your arrangement together inside your Groovebox, Get into a habit of bouncing individual tracks out, exporting them or dragging and dropping them from your Groovebox into your DAW so that you can mix. Once you have audio to work with, you can do some more edits and things to really spice up the sound and really polish the overall concept of the song. So use your DAW to create your mix and the final version of your song. Hopefully those tips help you to get started and really get you moving with your Groovebox. Even if you've already been working with a Groovebox for a while, hopefully those 10 tips will get you to that next level and really open your eyes about the best uses of your Groovebox and how to get a lot more creativity out of the workflow. If you haven't already done so, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If this video helps you, share it with your friends. Share it with people that you know that need help with their Grooveboxes. Share it with other producers or even songwriters that you know that are into music production. Share it with them. And don't forget to check out my website, www.ultrawest.com. You can download the first chapter of my new ebook entitled The Sound Mind for free. The Sound Mind is an ebook that I wrote that has over 100 pages of music production tips and strategies that you can use to become a better musician and better music producer. So I highly recommend that you get it, and I'm giving away the first chapter for free. So go ahead and get that. Okay? Until next time, I just want to tell you guys peace and God bless.